Well, everybody, I went playing the other day and bought a bunch of junk. Probably took a bath on the price of it, but this stuff right here is all parts. Of course, that piece there, as you can see, had a little frost damage over there, but that goes to this junk one here anyway. This is a UD9, and it's been setting with no top on it, so I'm sure it's junk. And the guy said that the block is cracked somewhere. I haven't looked it over. But the other one on the other side, yeah, it's raining out, as you can see. It's a miserable day. This here is a UD14. And as you can see, it's a part. The cylinders don't look good in it. You know, when I looked at it, it was in the building, and I couldn't really see that good, and I didn't have my phone with me for a light. Anyway, I agreed to buy it, and it really wasn't quite as good as I thought it was. But anyway, neither here nor there. I'll bring you back when I get in the shop, a little drier. So anyway, this is the rest of it. This was all reconditioned. You know, it's got a few studs there that, you know, not put back in yet, but yeah, it's got new valves in it, and it's been all reconditioned. It got a little wet there yesterday before I got it in, but it ain't not gonna hurt it none. So I got that. This here is a rebuilt injection pump. Now this came off the UD9, and he said it's the same, so I don't know if it is or not. There might be some of you UD or TD gurus out there that might be able to comment whether that will actually operate successfully on a UD14. I'm not sure. I know the outside physically is the same, I guess, but doesn't mean that the volume that it puts out, you know, per stroke is correct for the bigger engine. I'm not sure. Maybe it is. So at the same place, which I should have had the camera out this morning because we just freed this thing up this morning. We picked up this little Fairbanks Morse, and this is a, it's not a, oh, what do they call it, a Jack something, Jack Jr. This is not a Jack Jr. The Jack Juniors were the Model H, and this igniter bolt pattern went this way on it, you know, back and forth. So they were a little different. This is actually a Fairbanks Z, supposed to be. And we freed it up this morning pretty quick. I mean, it, you know, but I don't know if you can see into the cylinder or not. I gotta get a light here. You hang on, I'll get a light. So as you can see in there, it's pretty nasty. Gonna hone it, see how it comes out. It took 3 different heats with a torch. I don't know where the heat gun is. I guess I picked it up and put it away. But yeah, I had the heat gun inside. I'd stop with a torch, and I had it up to 400 degrees twice yesterday. Took it up to only about maybe 300 today. But Chris, you've all met Chris before in some of my videos there. We had the connecting rod loose, and Chris was sitting here rocking back and forth in that little bit of slop. Of course, it was stopped at 90 degrees to the stroke, which gives you the least amount of thump you can get, really, but as far as torque. But anyway, that's all right. He was thumping away and I was heating, and it freed up. And all this stuff here is free. The exhaust valve is free. So if we can clean it up, you know, I didn't get it hot enough to burn off the paint. And this is this is somebody I've never heard of. This is John B. Varick Company, Manchester, New Hampshire. 1.5 horsepower at 500 RPM. Now, the Fairbanks serial number is, I don't know if you can see that or not, but it's 252271. And That breaks down to 1917. So I know it's a Fairbanks, even though basically this, what did I say it was? Varick. This John Varick company, he was a jobber outfit. In other words, he probably had a big hardware store or something, and he bought these engines untagged from Fairbanks. Or they may have had a tag on them, and he just put his own, you know, right in the same spot. It's hard to say, you know. But anyway, he tagged them as his own, which a lot of people did back then. It was kind of, I think, standard procedure, you know, wasn't no big deal. And anyway, so we're going to see if this little horse and a half is salvageable. Don't know if it is or not. We'll find out. You know, I got only a few $100s in it, so we'll see. But anyway, right now, before I play, because that's playtime, this is what I'm doing here. I've got these aluminum tracks. These go on that greenhouse that we're building. And you can see every 10 inches I got a hole. And I've got these ones here, 3 more to drill there. And I got this one here to drill. So I got 4 of them to drill still. I'm all set up here. I'm going to be drilling that. And then I took I don't even know what size this is actually. I just grabbed a drill. Didn't really matter. Looks like maybe 30 seconds or something like that. 30 seconds. So yeah, 30 seconds. But anyway, as you can see, I flattened out the point so I can go down and do the countersinks, basically what I'm doing with it. So anyway, I'll put that in my back pocket, or I'll set it down, wonder where the heck I put it. But anyway, yeah, I'll bring you guys back in a little bit. Well, this is what we do with these things. Slide them along, deburr them. And works pretty good with that cutting edge numbed off the way I got it. Don't dig in. Once I get halfway, I start going back, and I got the stop set, so I just pull down. It'll only go so far, but it won't pick it up and try to screw it onto the drill, which is what'll happen if you don't numb that edge over. So anyway, I'm not going to bore you with all of this because it's kind of monotonous. And anyway, all I'm doing is running them out through the... This is a drying rack, actually, from a... What was it? Yankee Woodworks or something like that. They had much as 200 of these things. They used to do skateboards. And I bought one off the guy that was junking out the place. So anyway, it worked good. But yeah, I'm not going to bother you or bore you with the rest of this. I'm going to keep on drilling. I got a bunch of them up here to do. And it's going to take me an hour or so. But I get back working on that. Maybe I'll bring you back in a little bit. Well, this is that intake cage off of that Fairbanks. Real simple to get them apart. That's just a cotter pin hole. Cotter pins there, springs there. Pull a cotter pin out. Take the spring off. I did have to take a file to this end a little bit, just to get the rust off of it. This here is what I wanted to show you. This one lunger has been underwater. That's not normal condensation. Still in good shape, but it's been underwater at some point in its life. And I don't know if it was in a well house which I've got engines before that were in well houses, and you know, sometimes in the spring, they're usually in a low area, they'll go underwater. So anyway, we got that off. I've got the actual fuel line, which we unscrewed from there. That is in the carburetor cleaner, but I don't know if you can see that in there. That is a nasty bunch of stuff in there. Well, yeah, you might be able to see in there. That's pretty nasty. Most of the dirt, I guess, is on this side. But either way, it's gonna take some cleaning in there. So that gas tank will have to come out from underneath there. I may not take it out right now, you know. I think the engine has to come off the skids, and then you can pick the tank off, because this is welded to the tank or riveted, probably soldered. So, you know, it's a stacked assembly. You know, this here is welded together and whatnot. And I'm not actually sure if any of this stuff, I think it's all welded. Oh, it's riveted right there. Yeah, they riveted it. So anyway, I'm not going to undo the rivets. I get the engine off, though. I might straighten out some of this stuff where somebody picked it up or dragged it with a chain. You know, they could have got this out of a river. Who the heck knows? But this does produce about 7 or 8 volts of current in the make and break mechanism is actually working. So, you know, I don't know if it'll run or not. The exhaust valve and the exhaust cage there, you know, that works. So this here is all working. So it's kind of strange, you know, for something that's this rusty. I mean, you know, this governor linkage here all moves, especially if you put it out where it'll have much right out there, you know. That moves, the governor weight here moves. So even though it was underwater, the only stuff that really got affected was the stuff in the cylinder. Because of course that didn't dry out right away. It was probably years before it dried out. And basically the exhaust valve was halfway open, so every time you had an atmospheric change, you pulled in some more dry air and it left moist, and that would be working in and out. And you don't evaporate a lot of water that way, but you know, every day it would make a change, so it eventually dried. Otherwise it would stay in there forever pretty much. But anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and wire wheel this a little bit, and I'll bring you back here. We'll see what it looks like all cleaned up. Hey, we're over here at the old Sioux valve grinder here. We're going to see if we can't put a little bit of a grind on that. I probably ought to dress the stone, the looks of it. But for what we're doing, I'm not going to bother. It's got some pinholes in it. And let's see here. I didn't really take that much off in it, but I really don't think it's worth chasing those for what it is. You know, some of those, by the time you get rid of them, you'll be right here razor thin. And I'm going to leave them. Pretty sure. We'll have a wide enough seat that it'll work. So anyway, I don't know if you can see them or not. It's kind of hard. It's, you know, the lights ain't that great here, but maybe you shut that off. Maybe you'll be able to see it better. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, it's good enough for what she is. So, I'll bring you back in a bit. So anyway, I just blued that valve. And is it perfect? No. Not by a, long stretch, but I'll tell you, I think for what this old girl is, hang on a minute. Yeah, I'll tell you, you know, put any force at all on that valve and that comes out some sweet. I'm not even going to grind the seat. There's a little bit of more blue in here and there, but I'll tell you, there's a little bit of rust on there. And I think within 5 minutes of running, that rust will pound out. And that will seat in, and that will be just like it was from the factory. You know, I mean, why do anything you don't have to do? But, because I'm not restoring this, I'm just getting it running. So anyway, I'll bring you back in a little bit. So the next problem I have is, as you can see, I got 3 ring gaps. And yes, they are all lined up pretty much, but you know, these things work around the cylinders while they're running anyway, so that's just hit or miss. But they're growed in there pretty darn tight. But I'm going to stick a small screwdriver in there, if I can. Don't know if it'll go in or not. Might have to get one that's ground a little bit. I'll bring you back if I find something that'll fit in there. Well, we're back again. I didn't actually find anything that would go in there, but I got one of my real small ball peen hammers. Yeah, you can hear by the sound right there, there's movement. So if you got movement on the end, that ring will come loose. It's all about patience. And don't overdo it with the hammer, because that ring is just looking to break. But that one's going to come right out. Look at that, huh? And you just keep working it. Oh yeah, she's loose all the way to here. There she goes. Wow. Because we'll take them off and clean them up. I don't know if I can do it with my fingers or not, but no. That's all right. Oh, that's pretty good. Pretty happy with that. Now, if we can get the next one to do it as easy. It's moving. I'd have never believed these would start working this easy. Because boy, I'll tell you, this engine, as you saw, was pretty nasty. Oh yeah. like it. And I'll put a little juice around the back side of that. There we go. Yeah. That made it come to a melt. Look at that. Yeah, coming right to it. We're all ready to hear again. Yeah, it's moving all the way to there. That's not stuck bad. Right there it's stuck a little tight, but it's awful tempting to put a screwdriver right there and pry, but usually you'll break the end. If you can get a piece working, you want to keep working from the same side till it comes loose. You're a lot better off. And you know, they talk about patience being a virtue. This is one of them things where it'll pay, because this engine will run with these rings. I mean, they're not, are they wore a little bit? Yeah, they might be out of spec a little bit, but like I say, it'll run. Now this ring here was up at the water, so I'm not really sure about this one. Well, it's going in. That's kind of a good thing. At least it's moving. Even though I'd rather it not stay in when it goes in, because this one's so darn tight that I think it'll come to it though. Just keep it wet. It's going in all the way around, but it ain't coming out. But I'll bet if I wipe my hands off and get my jackknife out, I can probably start it back out again. Because if I can get the end just moving at all, and my knife blade's pretty darn thin. Might be a little too thin. Don't know if it moved it at all or not. Huh. Yeah. I think that does spread it just a little. Yeah, it's going down deeper and deeper every time. But anyway, I'm gonna kind of ruin one of these small Sears screwdrivers here. I'm gonna go grind it. I'll be back. There, what I did was I just ground both sides. And I believe it will fit in here now. We'll find out. Oh, look at that. We just picked it up. I believe this one's going to come loose too. Basically, before you can start working them out like I did the first two, you got to get this in so it'll travel back and forth like it's starting to now without getting stuck. And then you can just keep working stuff. But this one hates to give it up. But we'll lose way back to here, so. Anyway, this is going to be a lot of time. I'm not going to, guess, keep the camera on. I mean, we do have it loose. I'll bring you back in about probably 10 minutes before I get this done. Well, since I shut the camera off, it was 3 minutes, and we've got this one. As you can see, it's starting to move good. Like I say, it's just about being patient with it. Of course, it went real good. Right now, I'm right about there. I can feel it. Yeah, not gaining much. But, well, that's pretty solid sounding. I went down a little bit there. If you get where you really want to tap and don't want to worry about nothing, you can tap with a handle too. It don't really matter as long as you're moving that ring. She is coming to it. Look at that, huh? Yep. Wow, they're still stuck. But a few minutes of tapping, it'll come right to it. There she goes. She's coming to it. What I'll do is I'll take these off and I'll clean them real easy with sandpaper. I'll take this over to the bench grinder and I'll wire wheel all this. Wash the rest of it up in the parts cleaner. And that piston, once you put the rings back on, will be ready to go. So anyway, if anybody out there had never taken rings loose with a hammer, hope that might have helped you with a little bit of insight. It's all about patience. Don't get in a hurry. And I'd like to say that I've never broke one, but that's a lie. I have broken before. You know, probably got an 80 or 90% success rate, something like that. It's not perfect, but, you know, You know, it is what it is. But this old girl's going to come out good. You know, that one there is still, that's got a lot of crap in it, but it's loose anyway, so we can save it. So yeah, so I'm going to go on upstairs, have supper. We was about maybe 10 minutes getting all 3 rings loosened. And that thing sat in the water for a long time, so that goes to show. But I have seen them you couldn't get out too. You know, it all depends. But this one isn't as bad as I thought it would be. Anyway, hope you enjoyed. Talk to you later.